Welcome to the Bits Matter podcast. I'm your host, Doug Ridley, and today we're continuing Season 2, A Strategic Approach to Branch Design, with Episode 5, Adopting a Retail Mindset. In this episode, I'm joined by Marc Healy, our Executive Director of Sales and Business Development. Marc applies his 30 years of experience in retail banking operations and management to help our clients deliver the best branch experience. Today, we explore why financial institutions need to embrace a retail mindset when revolutionizing their branches. Now let's get started. So Marc, thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
One of the things that you and I have talked a lot about this year is around the importance of institutions having a retail mindset. Walk me through what that means and how we're talking to clients about it.
Well, financial services has been very, very traditional and conservative in nature. And funny, I was just having a conversation, Doug, with a client about this exact topic. I go, you know what? How do you look at your branch? And I go, if you don't think it's a retail store, you're kind of missing something. And he's going, talk to me about that. And we're trying to get people into our branches. And COVID didn't do us any favors of bringing people into the branches, actually pushed people away. So you got to look to do something a little bit different. How do you utilize technology? How to utilize digital science, how to use aesthetics, branding, etc. in your branches to create a true retail environment. And all those pieces have to come together and work in harmony with each other in order to deliver a unique experience. We all have the same products and services, pretty dang close. We all have auto loans, checking accounts. But what do you do uniquely different to stand out from the crowded noise of all financial institutions in every corner? And how do you do that? You create an experience with a retail mindset as the overarching theme to uniquely differentiate yourself. And I say this to clients, I say it internally as well, is that how do we become more consultative? How do we become more advisory in nature when somebody walks into a branch and create a different environment that most people perceive or think a branch is or a financial institution should be?
I love that idea around creating that kind of different environment when someone comes into the branch. So when we're talking about these intentional design choices, you'd mentioned, taking some notes here, the outward-facing signage, making sure that when you walk in, you're greeted, etc. We talked about private spaces for more in-depth conversations if we're asking questions, opening up loans, etc. You mentioned technology as well. Is there anything else there that, as we look at a branch that might be 700 square feet or 2,000 square feet, anything there that you would want to add in or people should be intentionally putting into their layouts?
Yeah, great question. And I'll start with just one word: engagement. You need to create spaces that allow engagement. And what I mean about that is conversations with members or prospective members. You just said, like, if you want an in-depth conversation, you can go into private spaces. Yeah, but let's start creating first you got to create an environment in an area where that conversation can actually start. And so things that are more interactive. So I think that a big piece is interactive technology. And when I mean that, things such as touchscreen technology, things that you can apply to that, of whether it's a brochures, digitize some brochures, it could be surveys. How was that interaction when you walked out of that branch? Talk to me about that member service or that customer service, that experience that you had, because and have actionable things that can then change behavior from the employer or the financial institutions, that it can make meaningful, tangible change to behavior to improve customer satisfaction type metrics. So you think about that on interactive touch technology. You think about things that, celebrating success when somebody opens up a new account. Here's a retail mindset tactic to execute on that overall theme is that how cool is it if somebody opens up a new account and then you go to some interactive touch screen and you create some type of a game, scratch off game that they're playing, and then they win some type of a real cool prize that they're going to use, branded to your financial institution, and something that they'll use. And like in this office the studio we're in right now, you see this branded merchandise there. It's really good stuff that I would use outside of the branch or outside of work. So how cool is that you've just now extended your brand outside the four walls of the branch? You can see on here, I'm wearing branded apparel right now because I think it's important that how do you get not only your customers but your employees to be brand ambassadors of your model of your institution.
Yeah, and you mentioned too that interactive technology and the screens and the touch screens. I think more than ever, we've been so much more intentional about where we're putting them too. It's not just they need to be in the branch, but now it's where are they placed in the branch, where are they going to be most accessible, and then I know talking with Chris and our team that it's also what content is being placed in different areas of the branch as well.
100%. You think about, again, another tactic on touch and interactive type technology. There's intentionality behind the design and where it needs to be. You're absolutely 100% correct. You can't just place it on a wall. It's got to be part of that journey, that customer journey. So it's intuitive enough that as part of the journey that customer, that member is experiencing when they walk into that branch. But you also think about if I'm looking through some type of an auto brochure or auto loan brochure on an interactive touchscreen, how cool is it that then all traditional push digital signage in that branch starts to resonate some type of a auto loan messaging, some car buying service, some auto promotion, loan promotion going on. But you're going, wow, look at that. I'm just looking on some type of a interactive device, and now I'm getting content pushed around the branch. You can improve
financial literacy, how much you can save depending on how much you put down, and those sort of things.
Targeting the messaging based upon what's going on in that branch and being nimble enough to react. And that's where the retail mindset comes into play. And so, we're having a conversation. I had the privilege and honor, I guess, to go and help one of our clients train a financial institution, a very large financial institution, over $20 billion in assets. And after that, we were debriefing, and I asked him, I go, I gave you some information. Why didn't you talk to me about it? I told you that I was role-playing that I just moved into town, and you never asked me why I moved into town. And I go, why didn't you ask me that? Just build that relationship, start a rapport, and start a conversation, because people deal with people they like to do business with. Build a relationship. And his response was, I think that was too personal. I thought that was too personal a question to ask. I'm going, what is the difference if I just you were a restaurant, I just sat down and you just asked me if you were a waiter, and you asked me, hey, is this your first time here? Yes, it is, or been a repeat customer, etc. And I'd say, no, first time, I just moved in town. You probably would have right off the bat asked me, oh, what brought you into town? New job came in, etc. But he thought that was too personal. And I'm going, isn't that crazy? And I debrief for the entire branch team and the leadership team about that comment, because I'm going, of anything, financial institutions have so much personal information about you, social security number, they know everything about your income, etc., your credit score and all that type of stuff. But you thought it was too personal to ask why you moved into town. So even that, a little bit of just changing your mindset of, build that relationship with Doug. So,
and I think that when we're talking about the space as well, we're giving, it seems like, the frontline staff those areas where here's where those conversations can happen. And I think we use the word choreography a lot, is here's where people are coming out from behind the desk and welcoming people in, getting people checked in. I know that some of our branches are so busy that they have someone there at the front to check people in, make sure that they have paperwork, questions answered. Oh, this is just more of a transactional thing. Here's where you can maybe self-serve if you're comfortable with that, versus waiting to speak to somebody. Would you like coffee? And then giving in that space, that same area, more private places where those conversations can really occur.
Yeah, it goes back to what we've talked about, is that be engaging, be proactive in your conversations, be very advisory in that, and don't just let the person walk in and say, okay, next, and you wave them over. I'm going, why don't you come out from behind and greet them just like you're walking into your home. Again, differentiate yourself a little bit better than your competition, because a lot of people don't do that, unfortunately. And for the life of me, I still don't know why, because I think I know it is because people are focusing on transactions and, geez, I've got a busy line. I got to get these transactions pushed through quickly. But you're not having real meaningful conversations, which you need to have. And so I think you're right on what you're saying, Doug. And it sounds like you've been a banker for a long time.
I've learned from the best.
No.
One of the last questions I have is, you mentioned that journey that someone takes within the branch itself. When we were talking with William in episode 1, we talked quite a bit about design critiques and how those are actually a great way for an institution to engage with Element, to say, I have this vision, or I have an idea, or maybe just I just have an existing place, and help me understand that journey that someone takes or should be taking within my branch. How, though, have you seen, because you've been on both sides, been a client, working with Element, how have you seen clients use design critiques effectively over the years?
I think there's a couple things. And first and foremost, I would say that, maybe in no particular order, is that, am I doing things right? Because most of the people we deal with, our clients, have worked with local architects or local general contractors, and they come up with, I'm going to have 5-6 people in this branch. Here's the roles, and we just go design it. But there's what we've been talking about in this episode, Doug, is that journey and that customer member journey when they open up the door or when they drive into the parking lot. A lot of times that's not considered. And intentionality of where you place devices at, to making sure that execution is done properly, because in retail it's all about execution. Just recently, actually, as a nice good-sized community bank in Georgia came to us, their documentation was already go to remodel their main branch, which is inside their headquarters, and the president, which I tipped my hat to, said something just wasn't right for him by looking at the design. They're literally permits issued. The general contractor was about ready to mobilize and start construction. He goes, I'm pausing the brakes on this. I want you to take a look at this. Brought our team in, or two of our senior designers and architects looked at it, and literally within 10 to 15 minute conversation saw 41 items of opportunity that they questioned. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And we went back to the president with that, and he's going, well, you know what? I should have brought you guys in a lot sooner in the game. So, but he decided to pause and let us take a look. So that started with the design critiques, and that here's what the plans was. Tell me what should be different. Also, we've got a credit union in Colorado just recently is they had remodeled a branch probably about, it was right, I'm losing track of time, but it was right prior to COVID. So it was a year or so, I guess in 2019 or so 5-6 years ago. And they go, something's just not right with this, as they're in the process now. And COVID didn't do them any favors. He goes, can you just critique this thing up and tell me, did we miss something? The most important is to realize what their space could become. And we do this stuff complimentary too. Let us give you some thought process and what we think the space could actually look like. And we embed technology into that. We everything from transactional technology to other type of technology, that interactive type technology, but just trying to push the narrative about your retail approach as you should be taken.
That's fantastic. And I know Nate recorded a short kind of video talking about those deliverables of a design critique. So we'll add those into the show notes, as well as, some of the other projects that have ended up being so successful because of the design critiques as well. But it's been great talking with you. Marc, thanks for coming in to the studio and talking about design here. And I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode. A big thank you to Marc Healy for joining us. Today's episode was produced by Bryn Baldessaro with music by the George Brown Band. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode, where Marc and I will talk about aligning design, your people, and ROI. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
The brand new day, sing a song of celebration, and hope, my friend, that we're gonna find a chance to love. Just one more day, then we're gonna find a chance to love. Just one more day.